Hello guys, how's it going? Welcome to Build a PC with Syah. Today is the day that you've all been waiting for. As you can see in front of me, we have a lot of stuff. All of these are hardware PC components, and we are going to assemble each of this and put it in this casing here. And let's start from there. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the casing. As you can see here, this is not a conventional casing that you can find in stores. The typical tower casing is not, the layout is not like this. So as you can see here, the motherboard is horizontal on the casing, but in a typical tower ATX casing, the motherboard will be situated layout like this. So the back of the casing is here. So your graphics card will slot in here, facing that way. This is the back of the casing. This is the front. So at the front here, the top of it will be the optical drives. It will be located here, mounted there. So below it will be all your hard disks stacked up on top of each other, and the power supply will be either on top of here, or in some cases will be down below. So that's basically a typical layout of a ATX casing. Okay, taking a closer look at the casing, you can see these mounts here are for the motherboards to be placed on the casing and secured with screws. So you can see before this, I've shown you the motherboards will be layout flat here on top of this, and the I/O ports will be facing this way, and this is the I/O shield, where it will shield from dust and other outside particles. And this part will be the PCI slots, where your graphics card or audio cards slot in and mounted on the casing. And you can see there's two fans here, big fans. This is the front part where it sucks all the cool air in, and at the back there's another fan where it sucks all the hot air from the motherboard and other components all out from the casing at the back. Okay, next we look at the front of the casing. You can see here, there's a power button when you switch on your PC, the reset button. There's two LEDs here. First one is the power LED, and there's the second one, the hard disk LED. And then there's two ports here, audio ports, audio in and line in, and USB ports. Newer casings, usually they come with a USB 3.0, so you can connect all the latest external hard disks or flash drives with 3.0, USB 3.0, and all of these are connected through this cable. You can see here, all this cable connects directly to the motherboard, and it displays or and controlled by this panel, front panel here. If you go down here, this is the drive base, where the optical drives and hard disks are located. So you can see here, there's two slots you can open up for optical drives, and there's two more on top of it for hard disks. So all of these components that I mentioned just now, they all come in standard in all the casings that you buy. Okay, some of you might be wondering, what is this black box thingy mounted here? This is the power supply unit, or some people call it PSU. This is where all the powers are produced and provided throughout the PC. So your wall plug will connect to here, and this is the on and off switch, and opposite of it is all the cables that runs through the PC and provide power to all the components. So we go one by one the cables here. This one is the 24 pin cable that connects to the motherboard directly, and there's another one that connects to the motherboard directly, and that one is this one. Okay, the old motherboards, like mine one, is just needs 4 pins, but newer motherboards, they need more power, so they need 8. That's why this power supply, it's a newer power supply, they provide with 8 pins. Okay, the other cables, you can see this one is for the graphics card. As you can remember from our graphics card episode, there's basic, the typical power connectors are just a single 6-pin connector, but the higher ends one, the more powerful graphics card, they need another additional 8 port. So you can see here the power supply here, they provide with 8 pins here. Okay, and the rest will be your usual power connectors that connects to your hard disk or your optical drives, and this will be the usual power for your fans, for your even all the older hard disks, they use this one. This is for your floppy disk if you're still using it. Okay, and that's about it. Now we can finally put everything together. Let's start with the processor. You take out the processor from the box, and before you put it into the motherboard, you can see here there's a triangle on top of the processor. It's important for this triangle to align with the small triangle here on the motherboard. So you open the pin lock at the side here and make sure it's aligned and it drops right in. If it's not aligned, it will not drop in seamlessly like that. Okay, once it's secure inside the motherboard, you can lock the pins. Okay, now it's time to put on the heatsink onto the motherboard. Okay, let's make sure that the heatsink is aligned with the clips on the side. Okay, and we start with the hook on this side first. Once that is in, then we put the other side. Before that, make sure the latch is not hooked up yet. Okay, once everything is in place, only then you put on the latch and lock it in. You see, it's the heatsink is tightly snugly in. Now we put in the power connector for the fan. So that's it. Okay, now we put in the RAM sticks into the motherboard. As you can see, we need to make sure that the gap here is aligned with the slots in the motherboard. So if it's not aligned, you can see it won't go in properly. So you have to flip it around and make sure that it pops in, and use both fingers to push it in, and it will automatically snaps onto the motherboard. Before we can put in the motherboard into the casing, you have to make sure that you put in the mounts for the motherboards onto the casing first. This is to ensure that you can screw in all the holes available on the motherboards and secure it onto the casing. As you can see here, my motherboard is a Micro ATX, so we only need these mounts for the casing. So we can pop the motherboard in right now.
and make sure that it aligns with the back panel, I/O back panel, and you can use a bit of force to make it align with the holes and the back panel. Okay, once all of the holes are aligned, you can see that the mounts are visible through the holes on the motherboards.
Now that we have put in the motherboard onto the casing, we now have to secure the motherboard with screws. So this is provided along with the casing, so it's neatly packed in a plastic bag. So you can take the screws and screw it in using this.
Okay, now we can secure the motherboard onto the casing with the screws provided along with the casing. So you can use this long magnetic tape screwdriver to aid you with this task. So you can see that it's much more easier. Now make sure you repeat the steps with the other mounting holes on the motherboard, so that the motherboard doesn't move around in the casing, and it's tightly secured onto the casing.